Hello everyone and welcome back once again. This is your civics teacher here, and this time I am here with a new chapter of NCERT grade 6, that is key elements of a democratic government. Students, if you remember, in your last chapter we learned and discussed about what is government and the various types of governments. And students, in the various types of governments that we discussed, is one of the type of government is the democratic government. And students, as its name suggests, it is the type of government that is elected by the people. And so in this type, government is answerable to all its citizens. Now students, in this chapter we are going to learn and discuss the key elements that influence the working of a democratic government, and which include people's participation, the resolution of conflict and equality, and justice. So let's start. Now students, let's understand the key elements of a democratic government. Students, South Africa is a country where people of several races live. Means to say, different color people live in South Africa, including African American people who belong to South Africa, the whites who came there to settle, in the same way the Indians who came there as laborers and traders and so on. And students, earlier South Africa was governed by apartheid laws, which means separation on the basis of their colors, and the people in the South Africa were divided into white, African American, Indian and other races. And students, according to the South African law, these races were not allowed to mingle people with each other, live near each other, or even common facilities. Means to say, overall we can say that according to the South African law, peoples of different races didn't have any social contact with each other. But students, ultimately the African National Congress led the struggle against apartheid, and their most well-known leader was Nelson Mandela. And ultimately, after a long struggle, in 1994, country became a democratic country, and now all the people are considered equals. Now students, let's understand that how people participate in a democratic government. Students, participation in democracy is a means to elect the representatives. And students, as we already discussed in the earlier chapter, that in a democratic government, people play a very prominent role and people make decisions. And we also learned and discussed that in a democratic government, people elect their leaders, or we can say representatives, via elections. And these elected representatives can take decisions on the behalf of the people. And students, the representatives that are elected by us always keep in mind the voices and the interests of the people. And students, as you all know, that every government is elected for a fixed period. And students, here in India, the government that is elected by the people is allowed to stay in power for only a period of 5 years. And if they want to continue to be in power in the next 5 years, then they will have to be re-elected by the citizens of India. And students, in this way, regular elections limit the power of the government. Now students, let's understand the other ways of participation through which people can cooperate in a democratic society or in a democratic country. Students, as I said, that in a democratic government, elections are held once every 5 years. So students, in addition to elections, there are few different methods for cooperation of people in a democratic government. And some such techniques are dharnas, arouses, strikes, signature battles, and other types of dissents. And students, in this process, mass media like TV, daily newspapers, magazines, and different organizations additionally assume a noteworthy part in highlighting open issues and embellishment general supposition. For example, in August 2005, the then ruling government of that time increased the money on electricity that people had to pay. So, as a result, that time all over the nation, people expressed this disapproval very sharply by protesting in the form of taking out rallies and organizing signature campaign. And students, even though the government tried to explain and defend their part, they finally had to listen to the people's opinion and withdrew the decision that they made. So students, for a strong democratic government, it is necessary that the people of that country must be alert and interested in how the country is running. So the next time if you see any kind of rally winding through the streets of your cities and the towns or villages, then you should pause to find out that what the rally is about and who is participating in it and why the people are protesting against the government. And students, when you analyze all these things in your mind, then this will help you to give you a sense of how our government works. Students, while it is very true that the government allows each and every citizen to participate, but however, it is not possible to all the sections of people who are actually able to do so. Now students, the another way to participate in a democratic government is by organizing themselves into a social groups and started social movements that seek to challenge the government and its functioning. And students, many peoples of the minority community like Dalit, Adivasis, women are often participate in this manner by forming their own organization. And students, in a democratic government, if the people of a country are alert and interested and want to know that what is happening in the government, then the democratic character of the government is expected to be stronger. Now students, let's understand that what is the role of a democratic government in resolving conflicts among the different religious groups in society or among the two different states as well. Students, in any nation, issues may bring about clashes and extremely unpleasant situation in the society. And students, these conflicts led to violence and death when one group decides that it is all right to use force to prevent the other group from protesting. And students, do you know why this happened? Because when people of varied cultures, religions, reasons or economic backgrounds do not get along with each other, or when some among them feel that they are being discriminated against, so in that situation people may use violent methods to settle down their differences, leading to fear and tension among others living in an area. Students, as I said, that in a democratic government, the government is responsible for resolving conflicts, and sometimes the religious processions and celebrations also led to conflicts among the different sections of the society. For example, the route a procession take place may also lead a conflict, and in that situation the government, particularly the police, play a very prominent role in getting representative of the concerned communities to meet and try to solve and arrive at a solution. And students, There is also fear that in such kind of religious processions that there may be violence erupt, with people throwing stones or trying to disrupt the religious processions. And in that situation, in a democratic government, the police is in charge of ensuring that the violence doesn't take place. And students, not only this, even rivers too can become a source of conflicts between two states. And do you know why? It happens when a river begins in one state and flows through another and ends in a third state. So, in order to sharing of river water between different states that the rivers goes through can become a source of conflict. For example, the Kaveri water dispute that broke out between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. And students, this Kaveri water dispute between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu starts in 1892 until 1960s. And students, the water stored in Krishna Raja Sagar Dam in Karnataka was used for irrigation by a number of districts and for meeting the needs of the city of Bengaluru. Whereas at the same time in Tamil Nadu, the Mettur Dam was used for crops grown in the delta region of the Tamil Nadu state. And students, a conflicts arouse because both dams are on the same river, means to say on Kaveri river. And students, due to this, both states can't get as much as water as they need for people in their states, and that's why this Kaveri river became a source of conflict between Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. And then the central government has to take a step in to see that a fair distribution is worked out for both the states. Now students, the next topic is equality and justice. Students, one of the principal duties of a vote-based system or a democratic government is giving fair equity and balance to all. And equality and justice are two unique sides of a similar coin, and both are inseparable in vote-based system. And students, as you all know that in earlier time in India, there was a ill practice in the society called untouchability that is now completely banned by making laws. And students, the people of the so-called untouchable society were earlier denied education, transport or medical facility and even chance to prayers. So, that time there was a man called Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar who realized that such practices mustn't continue and justice can only be achieved when people in a democratic society are treated equally. And so ultimately the government also recognizes this inequality in the society and makes special provisions for such groups within society that are unequal. And students, without equity and correspondence, popular government would stay good for nothing and directionless. Now students, that's all about your chapter number 4. And with this topic here, your chapter number 4 is completed. Now I will be come back soon with another chapter. Till then, stay home, stay safe and stay healthy.